Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today, it is going to be Doom 64 EX for the PC. So what Doom 64 EX is basically a recreation of Doom 64 from the, well, Nintendo 64, but for the PC. And so you've got a lot of enhancements that you don't have in the Nintendo 64 version, including you know, keyboard and mouse controls, you know, higher resolution visuals, so the visuals are much more crisp. We're actually playing and recording this at 1080p, so it looks super crisp compared to the original game. And there's other options as well that might fit your fancy depending on the type of, you know, Doom player you are. So we're going to run through this game in a Let's Play. This is probably going to be a 2 or 3 part Let's Play series. The game, last time I ran through it, took me about 4 hours to complete. The first part's probably going to have 10 or 15 stages in it, and the second part, I'm going to try to do the other 10. So there's 25 normal stages in this game, and then there is 3 hidden stages. Unfortunately, I have no idea where the hidden stages are, so we're not going to be playing those, but we are going to be doing the, obviously, 25 normal stages. So as you can see here, we've got, you know, 1920 by 1080, and there's, you can turn VSync on or off, and you can play it in windowed mode, and there's some other options as well, like filter settings and whatnot. You can have a blurrier look or a sharper look. I prefer the sharper look myself. And so there's a lot of different stuff here that you can play around with that's not actually in the Nintendo 64 version. So if you're not... if you haven't played Doom 64 before, or if you have and you're thinking about revisiting it, this is really the way to play it. Play it on PC with Doom 64 EX. It is so much more fun playing the game with all these extra options and keyboard and mouse and whatnot. So yeah, before we jump into the game, guys, I want to give the obligatory shout out to my Patreon supporters. So they're going to go ahead and flash by the screen. No new supporters as of doing this video, but if anyone would like to... support this show, feel free to check out the Patreon information in the description box below. Thanks again, guys, for your continued support, and let's jump right into it. So we're going to play in the hardest difficulty mode, which for me is really the only way to play Doom 64. Much like, you know, playing classic Doom, the only way to play is on ultra violence. Now there is the nightmare difficulty mode in classic Doom where enemies just constantly respawn, but that is not a thing in Doom 64, so we can't play on nightmare. Not that I would play on nightmare anyway, that's just absolutely ridiculously difficult. Nightmare mode actually is something I want to eventually try to tackle in a Let's Play for classic Doom on PC. But not anytime soon. That's going to require some serious practice. Playing Nightmare mode on classic Doom requires a completely different type of gameplay strategy than Ultra Violence or Watch Me Die on Doom 64. So this room is completely unnecessary, but you do get the chainsaw for it, which will come in handy later on this level, because there's going to be a lot of pinky demons and things like that. So there's a lot of zombie soldiers here. What's actually interesting about the zombie soldiers in this game is that there's actually 2 different types of zombie soldiers, just like in classic Doom, but there's only 1 sprite for both of them. So you actually tell which one is which by the ammunition they drop. So these guys are dropping clips for your pistol, like so. And then other ones will drop shotguns. And I'm guessing the reason that is that they probably just didn't have that much space to work with on the cartridge, unfortunately, so they had to make some cutbacks like that. For instance, there's also imps in the game, and there's shadow imps. So there's actually 2 different types of imps, but they're exactly the same sprite, just they're basically palette swapped. And so you'll see that as we progress through the game as well, and I'm going to guess that was probably... you know, a compromise that had to be made for, you know, having limited storage space on the cartridge. And, but that actually just kind of goes back to the zombie soldiers, and the reason I wanted to point that out is that you kind of need to know, in terms of survival, you kind of need to know who's attacking you, and, you know, if there's just like general zombie soldiers that just, you know, use their pistols or rifles at you, they're not really that threatening. But if you got some shotgun soldiers, though, shotgun zombies, they can be really, really dangerous. And so you need to be able to hear their firepower. So these guys are shotgun guys, and so they'll dish out the damage really, really fast. And the reason I say that is that you need to keep an ear out. Is that you can't tell which one is which just by looking at them. You have to actually listen to what they're doing in order to figure out whether they're safe to be around. I mean, really no enemy in this game is safe to be next to, but if you're stuck next to a just a regular rifle guy or pistol guy, they're not really much of a threat. You know, they might take like a hit point or two off of you. But the shotgun guys can easily take away like a fifth or a sixth of your health in one shot, maybe more if you don't have any armor or anything like that. And one of the other beautiful things about playing this in Doom 64 EX is, besides being able to name your save files in very specific ways, you can quick save anywhere you want. And this was something that you could not do in the N64 version. Now, you could save from level to level in that game, but it was only at the very beginning of the stage. You would basically save your progress as a level ended. But look, I can save it right there, move over here, hit the quick load button, or not really quick load, and bam, we're right back where we were. So what we're going to be doing is actually utilizing the save functionality, because trust me when I say some of the level design in Doom 64 is BS, and quick saving definitely comes in handy on this game. And you know, man, playing this on the actual Nintendo 64 is quite frustrating nowadays, you know, because when you die, you've got to play the entire level over again. And there's lots of traps in Doom 64. And here's actually, I think some shadow imps are going to appear here, I think. There's a lot of traps in Doom 64 that you don't really find in like classic Doom. And oh no, those are regular imps. There's a lot of traps that you don't really find in classic Doom, and the traps will really whittle away at your health. There's other traps like on certain levels that'll just drop you into a pit of lava, and there's no way to escape, so it's instant death. But some of these traps are, say, at the very end of a level, so you spent 15-20 minutes trying to play through a level using the N64 analog stick and the less precise aiming on that version of the game, and you die. And since you don't have quick saving or quick loading, you've got to do the entire level over again. So this part right here is a bit of a puzzle as well. There's a bunch of like little puzzle aspects to this game, and one of the first main puzzle aspects is right here. And let me make sure the room is done. So if you flip any of these switches with these little walls right here, the ceiling will come down and crush you. So let me try to flip it just to demonstrate. You can actually flip it and move backwards and just miss getting crushed by just like a frame or two. So if you pick the wrong one, you get crushed. If you pick the right one like that, you lower the correct platform down, like so. And Doom 64 has a lot of stuff like that, and it can get a little... It can get on your nerves, to say the least. And it's one of the things I don't like about Doom 64. And there's actually, believe it or not, there's a lot of things I don't like about Doom 64. And there's a lot of reasons why you guys don't hear me praising Doom 64 a lot. It's not that it's a bad game or I don't like it. I do actually like Doom 64 a lot. But, I mean, when I have the option to play Doom, I'm gonna play Doom. I'm gonna play Ultimate Doom or Doom 2 or some awesome like WAD or mod on classic Doom. Doom 64 is usually my last game in the Doom series that I really want to go to and play. I mean, I'd rather play a I hope I'm not turning off too many people here, and I'm sure I've already lost a few of you because of saying that, but I'd rather play just one of the GIMP console versions of classic Doom on, you know, play the Jaguar version of Doom or the PS1 version of Doom rather than play Doom 64. The trap-oriented design is not a favorite of mine, and some of the moments they throw you in this game, like this right here, Crushing walls on level 2, that can kill you instantly, and if you're playing on the Nintendo 64 version of the game, if you die, you gotta do the whole level over again. And so I'm not a fan of level design like this. There's a little bit of this in classic Doom, but not that much, and when it was there, it was super easy to avoid. It wasn't really all that threatening, to be honest with you. If you get crushed in classic Doom, it is completely your fault most of the time. If you get crushed in Doom 64, it's probably still your fault, but I guarantee you will get killed from crushy things more often than this. More often in this than not. There's going to be some enemies that spawn in right here, and I highly recommend just moving in and just moving backwards, because what happens is you bolt into this room really quickly, the enemies spawn, and one of them spawns right on top of you, and when an enemy spawns on top of you in this game, you get stuck and you can't move. And you'll be taking damage and whatnot, trying to figure out what's going on, and that could be aggravating in the game. And this is one of those parts I always thought was pretty cool in the N64 version of the game, seeing this thing come down and crush the environment. There are some really neat things, environmental things, in Doom 64, I will say, and there's some really good... we were actually talking about this on my recent Nintendo 64 stream. There's some really good architecture in the game as well. So, you know, it's not that I don't like Doom 64. I do like Doom 64, and I'm happy to play it right now for you guys. But there's just a lot of things I don't like as much as, you know, traditional classic Doom. But there are some things I do, like, legitimately really enjoy about this game. I like the lighting and stuff like that. Especially when you're actually playing on the Nintendo 64, it's really, really dark on an N64. Normally, I don't really see that as a good thing, but I will say that the environments just look super cool on the N64 version. So, like, this room right here is just super dark on the 64 version, and, you know, having it be really dark makes those, like, neon lights just really pop out even more than they do with how I'm playing it right now. So I have the brightness actually cranked up quite a bit. We could actually lower the brightness and make it more like the N64 version, but I'd rather you guys be able to actually see the action and the gameplay. And so I've got everything sort of raised here. I also like to be able to actually see what I'm doing when I play these first-person shooters. Particularly these old first-person shooters that really require you to be on your A game to get through them consistently. So there's going to be a switch over here that's going to release a teleporter. And then there's going to be another switch right over here. Some of the level design can be confusing. Like, you'll come through this room, and if you just turn around really quickly, you won't even really notice there's a switch there, because it's not lit up or anything. And it just kind of blends in with the wall, so you've got to watch out for that. But that basically lowers down this right here for the yellow key. And now what we need to do is go back to the very beginning of the stage, because that's where the yellow door is. And we can do that by coming through here. And we've got full shotgun ammo. Like, you know, this is a great example right here. Like, this blue room is really sweet looking. And, especially on Nintendo 64 when you get to it for the first time. And, like, the lights just slowly fade in. That's some really awesome stuff you don't see in classic, you know, Ultimate Doom or Doom 2. And so, like I said, there's some things I legitimately enjoy about Doom 64. I just wish much of the level design was better. More straightforward, more action-focused, less puzzle-focused. I mean, there's a lot of shooting in the game. Don't get me wrong. I would be wrong to say that there's very little shooting in Doom 64, because it can't be farther from the truth. But with how the level design is laid out, a lot of the level design is just kind of clunky, very stop and go, and as a result, the game isn't as fast or chaotic as Ultimate Doom or Doom 2. And that's just at times. There are some points in this game you guys will see where things really go balls to the wall, and you know, in those moments, Doom 64 is awesome. Like, I love it when it is just really focusing on the gunplay and the action. When it's not, and we're focusing on really tight corridors over and over and over again, and, you know, puzzle scenarios with keys and things like that. I don't have nearly as much fun with it. And that's why Doom 64 for me is very much, I have a love-hate relationship with it. There's things I love about it, there's things I don't love about it. And that's why it's not my go-to Doom game. And I know I'm going to get a lot of comments out there from people saying, oh, this is my favorite game, it's the greatest Doom ever made. And that's cool. If you really love this game, I think that's awesome. And you definitely shouldn't feel ashamed for that, and I'm not going to shame you for really enjoying this game. I mean, everyone's tastes are different. It is a good game, it's just not my favorite when it comes to Doom games. So, and I have my reasons for it, and I've already spoken my bit on it, so I'll just go ahead and leave it at that. I'll go ahead and leave it at that until we get to some other areas with some really questionable design choices, and then I'll most likely get frustrated and start whining about it again. So, if I start whining about it again, well, you've at least been warned. So, I thought there was another cacodemon down here. Did he get killed by someone, or did he somehow teleport out? I have no idea. Oh, there he is. He took the scenic route. Okay, so there's gonna actually be this right here. We need to go up and get this yellow key. Just like that. And we're gonna come back here. More enemies have spawned in. And these are like the shadow imps. I don't even know if they're actually called shadow imps. Or if they're like, if it's like phantom imps. I have no idea. I thought it was shadow imps, but I could be wrong. So there's actually a secret right here. Partial invisibility. Now there's also invincibility right here. So I'm going to bust out the chainsaw. Whenever, you know, just like in classic Doom, whenever I'm invincible, I try to use things that don't really use up any ammo. And unfortunately, this is just wasting my invincibility time. And I will say the new chainsaw in this game is kind of badass. It is really, really cool. It's a double-bladed chainsaw, and it absolutely dishes out the damage faster than the classic chainsaw does in the original Doom. So flipping that switch does two things. It, for one, it lowers this door over there, but it also raises a block right here, which allows you to get up and get to that secret area. But flipping this switch is more important because it makes the red key appear here. So you can already tell there's a little bit of puzzle design in its switches and things like that, and that just becomes more apparent as you play through the game. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and quick save it. I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of quick saving. What I should be doing is quick saving more often in case I just happen to die. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with the game, so I don't think I'm going to just be randomly dying in normal gameplay. Now, if we were playing on the actual N64 version, I absolutely would probably die in normal gameplay, because it's a lot harder to play that game with the N64 analog stick. And if you crank up the sensitivity so you can, say, you know, move your aim back and forth faster, it's much, much more difficult to become to be accurate with it, unfortunately. And we got the Berserk power. The Berserk power up to me is almost useless in this game when you have the chainsaw. And there's going to be some strobing right now. This always hurts my eyes right here. I hope it doesn't hurt yours too much. I probably should have warned you about it. And this is our first Hell Knights. These, the Hell Knights are like the Barons of Hell, but they shoot out green bullets. So the Hell Knights actually originally appeared in Doom 2 for the first time. So don't confuse these guys with the original boss in Episode 1 of Classic Doom, the Barons of Hell. The Barons of Hell in this game shoot red bullets, or red projectiles. Now in Doom 2 for PC, the Barons of Hell and the Hell Knights, they actually shot the exact same projectile. The Barons projectiles might have been more powerful. I'm not sure. Not 100% sure. But the enemies physically looked different. So in this one, the enemies, the Hell Knights and the Barons, they look very, very similar to one another. But their projectiles are different in this one. Whereas in Classic Doom, you mainly tell them apart from the sprite. But in this one, it's the opposite. You tell them apart from the projectile that they're shooting. Alright, so an area opens up, and it is right down here. Nope, not right down there. Wrong way. Now, the Lost Souls, actually, they have less health in this version of the game. You can kill most Lost Souls up close with the shotgun in just one hit. So if you see Lost Souls, I generally recommend either busting out your shotgun or busting out your chain gun. So you can tell how his arms are like glowing green. They don't glow in the classic Doom. So, according to one of my recent live streams on N64, we actually played a little bit of Doom 64 and we got to this level. And one of the viewers said this is actually a key to one of the secret levels in the game. So there were 4 switches up here, and you actually have to hit them in the right order. I don't know what that order is, but just a heads up in case you're going to play this game and you do want to get to those secret levels. So someone on my Twitch stream also, while I was playing this, did tell me that the secret levels can give you these like runes or keys. And these keys or runes, they basically help you on the final boss in the game. But they also raise the strength of one of the new exclusive weapons in the game. Totally forgot what the new weapon was called, but we will, trust me, definitely be getting it and be using it a lot later on in the game. And that's a secret. Very good secret. We got a supercharge right here, also known as the Soul Sphere. It's known as both supercharge and Soul Sphere in Classic Doom. And so we're actually making decent progress here. We're already at is this map 5? Let's see. I think it's map 5. Yeah, map 5, Tech Center. So we're gonna come down here. Actually, I don't even want to come into this area. This whole room is just completely unnecessary, actually. There aren't any keys or switches that you really have to flip. I don't think any of the switches are necessary. And we're going to come down here. Come to this room. This is going to activate another room that we have to go to. Flip that switch. And then this opens up. And some more Hell Knights are revealed. And trust me when I say, we are going to be fighting a lot of Hell Knights throughout the course of this game. And so, now, I don't know if this was just like an intentional design choice, or if it was just because, like, there was limited storage space on the N64 cartridge that they were using. But there are no Revenants in this game, which were enemies from Doom 2. There are also no Archviles from Doom 2. And the Archviles, I guess I can understand, because, you know, you didn't really see them that often in the game anyway. But Revenants were kind of a big part of Doom 2. And this game has enemies from Doom 2. It's got the Arachnotrons, basically like the mini spiders, the mini robotic spiders. It's also got the Pain Elementals and the Mancubus, which we're going to be experiencing shortly here. And but no Revenants, unfortunately, which is really a big shame, honestly. I think that actually lowered the yellow key, so we can actually get the yellow key now. And this Hell Knight actually isn't here the first time you come here, but once you flip that switch to lower the yellow key, he does appear here. And so basically my point about there not being any Revenants is that the enemy design and placement isn't mixed up nearly as much as it is in Doom 2. So as a result, because, you know, they couldn't place any Revenants, you end up having a lot of Hell Knights in their place. And there's going to be another secret right here. You have to hit that, and then hit that, and it lowers this for another supercharge. And so we're going to have to actually come back here, which is where the red key is. And so that area actually opened up this. So yeah, it's just kind of a shame that they weren't able to get the Revenants in here, because it would have mixed up the level design quite a lot, I feel. And same with the Archvials. I mean, if the Archvials, I don't actually need that. That's the Berserk power-up. But I'm already at full health. The Berserk will take your health all the way back up to 100. But I'm already past 100. And I don't use the Berserk anyway. So basically what happens is the Berserk makes your fists really powerful. But I don't really use that in this game. I'll use the chainsaw, or I'll just play it safe with just regular guns. So this switch opens up a couple other areas here. Yeah, so one of the things about Doom 64 is it does get more repetitious than classic Doom, because it doesn't have, or at least Doom 2, because it doesn't have as much variety in the enemies. Yeah, it's got two different types of imps, but they're basically the same types of imps. Maybe the shadow imps, you know, maybe their projectiles are stronger, but from an actual gameplay perspective, they're basically identical to the regular imps. They take pretty much the same amount of shots to take down. They look pretty much the same, except they're translucent. That sort of thing. So, you know, I'm guessing they probably just did what they could. And I'm gonna guess there aren't any Revenants because of just limitations of the cartridge, basically. You only have so much storage space on a with these old ROMs. And it's possible they could have actually gone another ROM size up, or cart size up, but that would have cost them more money in manufacturing, which, you know, a lot of developers or publishers, you know, would intentionally cut things out of the product to be able to put the game on a smaller cartridge, because that meant that there was more profit to be made for each game sold. Not necessarily profit, but I should say they were taking less of a loss on each cart that was manufactured. And it's one of the reasons why you saw a lot of developers jump ship from Nintendo and go to Sony back in the day, because CDs were so much cheaper than these cartridges. I think Sony's license fees were actually also cheaper than Nintendo's. So Nintendo would take a cut out of every cartridge that you manufactured. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked with them. So, and the cut wasn't cheap either. It was a relatively expensive cut, from what I understand. So that's why a lot of developers ended up going with, you know, Sony, because CDs were so much cheaper to manufacture. But there was also the benefit of having so much storage space on the discs. You know, you weren't really limited to what kinds of textures you could include in the game. Because you had 650 megabytes of data you could store, whereas on a cartridge, I think in 64 carts, what do they go up to, 64 megabytes tops? I'm not sure entirely, but it was something like that. And even then, I think 64 meg carts were pretty rare on the N64, if they were a thing. So, to put it into perspective, actually, Doom 64 might even just be like an 8 or 16 meg card, come to think of it. I don't know, I'm gonna have to look at the some of the ROMs out there and see what the actual ROM size is. And that could explain some of the cutbacks. Not really cutbacks, but like some of the things that were left out that were just like Doom staples by this point. Like the Revenants and the Archviles and whatnot. So I did get a rocket launcher. I should probably use it. The thing about the rocket launcher is in enclosed environments like this, it's obviously riskier. And I actually don't even really need to attack those guys. I can just go to the exit right here. And that is a tip for players that don't like to kill enemies and would rather avoid them. So let's go ahead and save it again. Switch over to the chain gun because I don't really have much shotgun ammo, unfortunately. And there's actually a trick here I'm going to do. There's a bunch of like Barons and Hell Knights up top. This is actually where we see the Barons for the first time. There's quite a few of them from here on out. So let's see. That's a Hell Knight. There's the Baron. You can pretty much tell he looks like identical to the Hell Knight, except that his bottom is a little bit darker, and he's also got red glowy arms. But one trick is you can use your rocket launcher and try to take these guys out from down here. And trust me when I say Barons take a lot longer to kill than the Hell Knights. They take anywhere from 5 to 6 rockets, depending, and there's actually a secret right here. I'm going to switch back over to our chain gun. And take out all these guys. God, this is so much easier on PC than it is on Nintendo 64. It really goes to show what having that extra layer of control can do to the game. I mean, it can make it so much more of a fluid experience. And this is why I'm not really scared of dying when I play this version of the game, because I am in control at all times. Especially like the better I get in memorizing the level designs and so forth, I'm in full control. And that's why the original Doom games feel so good, is you always feel like you're in control in those games. You don't feel like you're out of control. You feel like you can just take on anything. Unless you completely run out of ammo, then you start to get scared. Because it's a little difficult just running around with a pistol or something like that in classic Doom. So there's another Baron. And the unfortunate thing about the Barons is that they throw a lot of them at you, and in classic Doom, they threw Barons occasionally, but it wasn't like around every other corner like it is in this game, or like it becomes in this point. In classic Doom, they threw Barons at you when they wanted things to get a little more tense. They wanted to keep you on your toes, that sort of thing. But in this, they use so many Barons that it kind of the effect of the Baron that the Baron should have on the player is just kind of lost. And it also slows down the gameplay because Barons take a lot longer to kill than Hell Knights. That's the big thing, is it just really slows down the gameplay. It's one thing having Hell Knights, because, you know, they take, what, 3 shots with your super shotgun. That's 2. Bam, there's 3, he's dead. But with Barons, it'll take, you know, 6 or 7 shots with it. Okay, we actually need to come down here. It's not till you flip that switch and fall down that door opens up. And that switch in that door activates this area. And that's one of the things I don't like about this game either, is just like the level design feels a lot of things just feel unnecessary. So like, why did I have to fall down, open that door just to go all the way back up just to come here? They should have just allowed you to come all the way across to begin with. And if just, you know, there's the saying, less is more. And the developers, you know, designing this game, I think took the exact opposite approach. They thought cramming more things into the level design would make it better, but in reality, it made the levels flow worse, basically. So if you play classic Doom or Doom 2, you'll notice that the level design is very deliberate, and there's not a lot that really just slows you down because it can in the classic Dooms. Now there's a couple levels in Doom 2 that are quite confusing, and they even still confuse me today. But for the most part, the levels flow so well in those games, and you don't have a lot of the issues that you have in this game with switches just because there can be switches, things like that. Elevators just because there can be elevators. Doors just to slow you down, things like that. You don't have that nearly as much in classic Doom. Like this elevator thing right here. Why is there this elevator constantly coming up and down? Why couldn't you just have these whole sections just at an even level, or have some stairs leading up to here instead of dealing with that elevator mechanic? It's just little things like that. I mean, it's definitely neat from like an architecture perspective. Here's our first paint elemental, actually. But I don't want to run across there until he's dead, because then I'll get stuck and I'll get thrown down below. Okay, so this part we have to run all the way across. These things, you can see how they just come up like that. And now what we're going to have to do, and this is a really crappy part of the level too, and on N64 this is super dark and almost impossible to see. We have to actually come down here and fall down here. If you fall all the way down, there's constant specters, which are basically like the translucent versions, nearly invisible versions of the Pinky Demons. And they just constantly spawn in. I think they might spawn in infinitely down below, and I think there's also some paint elementals as well if we fall back down there. No secrets there, and so now we have to come this way. Let's actually bust out the rocket launcher for these guys. Look, 3 Barons! 3! In Doom, Episode 1 on PC, 2 Barons is a big deal. You fight 2 Barons as the first boss, basically. But Doom 64 is like, oh yeah, no, let's just throw a ton of them at you. It's not like they're really hard, it's just for me, it just slows down the experience. Wow, no secrets. I am really awful at Doom 64, by the way, when it comes to secrets and things like that. So we will not be finding many secrets. It is something I'd like to actually focus on one day. Just really come in and focus on secrets in this game and try to discover everything there is to offer about this game. Like, I do want to play through it again sometime in the future and try to get to the secret levels as well. That would be pretty cool, I think. There we go. And this door is just like... there are so many doors in this level. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I'll just sort of count it out once we start going through some of these doors. I'm going to switch back over to the chain gun. There's a shotgun that we don't need because we already have one. So as you can see, like, I'm switching weapons on the fly, and this is completely intentional. If we were playing the Nintendo 64 version of the game, I would have to stop, scroll through my weapons, and it would take forever to get to the weapon that I want. And it's one of the things that's so awesome about playing this on PC, is being able to just switch to specific weapons on the fly. Like, I have my rocket launcher mounted to Q, and then I have my super shotgun... sorry, I have my plasma gun mounted to E, which I don't have yet, but the super shotgun is right above my fingers because I'm using the WSAD setup to move around in the game. And so I have so much more control over this version of the game. Now, where is the switch I need? Is it in here? Is it in here? It's in here. So this is the switch you need. It basically, you know, activates... Here, let's do an example. It activates that right there. But there's also a secret there I actually do know of. It's one of the few secrets I do know. And we're going to definitely want to get that because it's going to give us access to another supercharge. Door, door, door. That's what I'm talking about. It's just doors. So we need to run through here. Bam. So once you run across that bridge, it actually goes down, and you have to find that switch again, flip it a second time if you intend on getting that supercharge. And this is where we actually get the plasma gun for the first time. And unfortunately, my shotgun accuracy is kind of crappy right now, because you're supposed to be able to kill the Hell Knights in 3 hits, but you got to make sure you're actually hitting them solidly up close. Now, the plasma gun is a good weapon in this game, but it's kind of nerfed compared to the plasma gun in the PC Dooms. It fires at about half the rate, so it does not fire nearly as quickly as it does in Classic Doom. And we're gonna have to... Nope. Wait. So this is going to be the exit. So this is where we're going to have to come back to. And you don't want to fall down. I don't think there's a way to get back up. I think I could be wrong. And that's actually... when I see sections like that where I could potentially mess up and just be killed instantly, I like to quick save. So we actually need to come through here and flip this switch. And then I think that's going to raise some bars. We actually need to go back into this area. Door, door, door. Door, door. Door. Lots of doors. Yeah, it lowers these barriers. And now with the yellow key, we can go back to this area. This is where the level design just gets a little confusing. There's a lot of level design like this throughout the course of the game, where it's just kind of like stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. Oh look, a little bit of monster infighting. That doesn't happen very often. So monster infighting in Classic Doom is where when one monster attacks another, as long as it's a different enemy type, the two monsters will turn around and just start fighting each other. And you can really use that to your advantage in Classic Doom. And let's see... There we go. Yeah, I thought I could just open that up. And this part, the trick to this area is not touching the green. You can actually get along these girders here. And that is a radiation shield. So it's basically a replacement for the biohazard suit from, you know, Classic Doom on PC. See, lots of Hell Knights. Lots and lots and lots and lots of Hell Knights. And Lost Souls. Lots of Lost Souls, too. I'd say probably more Lost Souls in this than Classic Doom as well. That's one way that the level design kind of falters in Doom 64, unfortunately. So by doing that, we actually lowered some gates here. That switch was actually originally blocked off completely. Ooh, taking some damage. And I think that's going to reveal one of the red key that we need. Question is, where does it reveal it? Right here. More imps. And then we have to go back to flip these switches. So lots of backtracking in this game. There's a switch and some Hell Knights. Yeah, we'll just... Okay, I guess we'll fight the Hell Knight. Something to keep a note in this game is that the elevator timing is actually shorter than it is in Classic Doom. So you bring it down, usually it takes the elevators longer for them to go back up in Classic Doom. It's usually like another second or two. I'm just going to play it safe so I don't fall down here. And that's it. Another level down. Now, I should have remembered about this. Last time I got here, I actually ended up dying because I just jumped into this section unprepared. And they basically just surround you with a bunch of enemies. So that was my fault. I'm glad I didn't really take much damage from that. That's good. So... and same with this part right here. I'm going to go ahead and just leave those imps over there, and we're going to come back this way. I prefer using my super shotgun on the imps because you can cut through multiple imps at once. And so I typically like to save my chain gun for other types of enemies. And we're going to actually skip this down here. I don't think there's like a switch we need to hit or anything. Or is there? Actually, there might be, now that I think about it. I think coming down here like lowers a wall, but there is also a shotgun down here, but we don't need the shotgun. See, picking that up made other imps appear. And I just got stuck on 2 of them. Yeah, so going there actually makes his teleporter lower, so that's good to know. And we're just gonna fall down here. I don't want to get hurt by that guy. So it's some really weird level design here. Your key is actually too high up for you to just get to. You have to go through that teleporter to get to it. But also, this only lowers when you come over here. Like that. Super weird level design. Kind of unnecessary. But just a heads up, that's how it works in case you decide to play this game for the first time. Or if you need a refresher. There's a rocket launcher, there's some rocket ammo. And there's probably going to be a switch, yep, and that's going to make more enemies appear. And that basically lowers this area. Actually, let me go back and make sure I got all the ammo. Yeah, there's some ammo. And so coming here will lower this red key. And so now what we need to do is flip this switch, run through here real quick. That lowers this platform. And the timing is actually pretty tight on that, so... So with the red key, we're going to come down here. And so this is a bit of a puzzle right here. This is really unnecessary unless you don't have the plasma gun. So if you really want the plasma gun, you need to do this puzzle. But basically you can look in here. It basically tells you where the plasma gun is from differing angles. So it's going to be on, I can't really tell which one it is. It's probably this one because it just lowered down, or it's not. And it's not. Looks like we don't really have much of a choice now. I think it only gives you a handful of choices, and then that's it. So, no free plasma gun, but who cares? We already have the plasma gun. We're awesome. Alright, so let's go this way. And there's a really, really annoying design choice right here. It's a puzzle element. Check this out. Hey, wait, this is gated. Flip the switch, lowers the platform with the key, but if you walk over here, it rises back up. And this switch raises the gate. Well, that's kind of annoying. You need to come here, activate this with your activation button, and then the key comes down. So there's some puzzles like that in the game too. I literally sat here for like 20 minutes the other day trying to figure that out. So just a FYI, in case you're playing this for the first time. Alright, so this is pretty much the end of the level. And there's going to be some barons. I'm just going to go ahead and rocket them. So in this part, you actually have to kill all the barons, and that basically makes the stairs appear. Whoa. Did not see him there. You have to kill the barons to make the final stairs appear. There's not a lot of that in Classic Doom, where you actually have to kill enemies to make something appear. But it happens quite frequently in Doom 64, so it's really good to kill the enemies in this game, because oftentimes it's required anyway. In Classic Doom, I think it was very, very rarely required to kill the enemies, and if it was a boss or something like that, typically. So just one of the many different ways that Doom 64 is different from Doom or Doom 2. They definitely tried to make it its own thing, for better or for worse. So this is what you can call our first... I guess you could call it like our first boss area, our first boss map. This is one of the points where I really like Doom 64, because it's just all-out chaos on this level. There's no puzzle solving, although there are some annoying traps that I'll explain. But it's all about the action here. So I'm going to quick save it immediately the second we get in. And switch over to the rocket launcher. And this is where the Mancubus is introduced, and there's a bunch of them on this level. And these guys are super dangerous if you get hit. They were always dangerous in Doom 2. They're just as dangerous in this one. So now more enemies are going to appear. And what I really want to do is try to take out all these guys but one, and then afterwards I want to use my time to pick up whatever power-ups there are, because the next section is the most chaotic of the bunch. Alright, so now we're going to use this time to just run around, grab things, like power-ups we need. There's some good power-ups here, like there's a supercharge. This is blue armor. This gives you 200 points of armor, which basically reduces the amount of damage you take when you do actually take damage. And there's going to be the supercharge right here. Got it. And there's some more rockets, which we're going to need on the next section. And that is the chain gun, which we already have. We're already full on bullets. Alright, so let's go ahead and just kill this guy. I'll just blow him away with a rocket. 3 rockets, apparently. Okay, now let's do this. That's a pain elemental. You really want to take out the pain elementals if you can, because they just constantly spit out lost souls. Ooh. And something else that's new in Doom 64, there's actually some invincibility right here too. One thing that's new about Doom 64 is that the pain elementals actually explode and do damage to you. So you really need to stay away from the pain elementals when you kill them. Oh, chainsaw time, actually. Why waste rockets? Perfectly good rockets. When you've got God mode and a chainsaw. Now's a good time to actually get away. That was close. It's another pain elemental. I gotta say, the pain elementals actually look really cool in this game. They, it's the one enemy design that I think they actually made look cooler in this. Whereas a lot of the other enemies just kind of look kind of goofy compared to the original ones. They don't look as threatening or detailed in a way. But the pain elementals look really cool in this game. They did a really good job with, you know, making them look much more unique than they did in Doom 2. Also, functionally speaking, the pain elementals are more dangerous in this game because they spew out more enemies at a time. So in Doom 2, pain elementals only spit out one lost soul at a time. In Doom 64, they spit out 2, which makes them much, much more dangerous. Alright, so this is where some of the traps start to come into play. And this becomes an issue later on. When you walk over this, these walls shoot out some darts. And they do pretty good damage too, so... these things just really come into play a lot as the game progresses on from here on out, unfortunately. So I'll try to point out the sections where these things appear as we progress through the game. And then that's pretty much it. We got all the ammo. We're pretty much maxed out on everything right now. You can also use the mouse wheel to scroll through your weapons really quickly, which is really cool. But I usually just like press the key I want when I switch to like the lower weapons. I might use the mouse wheel when I'm scrolling up to like the final weapon that we get. Alright, so we're at level 10. We're actually making really good progress. We're only an hour in. So, really good stuff there. Now I could just bust out my chainsaw here, but to be honest, just shooting these guys is a lot faster. And there's a backpack. Backpacks are good. Backpacks extend your maximum ammo once, and but they also give you a little bit of ammo for pretty much every weapon you have. So if you ever see a backpack, it's really good to pick it up. Some blue armor right here, which we don't really need because of the previous stage. And those switches basically made these stairs appear. You gotta watch out when you're on stairs in this game. If you fall down, your character will just keep falling and you won't be able to really move. You'll pretty much lose all control of your movement. So you notice that if you're not too familiar with Doom, Doom has always had auto-aiming vertically. And so if enemies are lower than you or higher than you, your gun spread automatically goes up to those enemies. And so that's why when I see enemies below me, I just go ahead and try to shoot for them. I just shoot straight ahead. The bullets track downwards, and they attack the enemies in question. Oh, that was close. I thought I killed him. Alright. I just want to make sure all these dudes are gone. There's another one. There we go. Now we can come in here. It requires a yellow key. There's our yellow key. And this is actually where we get the BFG for the first time. Now, unfortunately, the BFG, while good, it's still been nerfed a little bit compared to, you know, classic Doom on PC. So it's not nearly as good. I actually generally prefer not to use the BFG just because of how much ammo it uses. It uses 40 cells. And so the BFG ammo is actually shared between the plasma gun and then the new weapon that appears in the game, which actually should be appearing in the coming stages. So that switch is actually what makes it appear. And it's going to automatically switch to it. Wait, no. Okay, I'm confused. Oh, that's what makes it come down. Nope. What am I doing wrong here? Maybe one of the other switches later on is what makes it, Oh, no. Yeah, so if this was Doom on PC, chances are all three of those Mancubus enemies would have died in one shot. I think, yeah, you have to flip that. That's what happened. So it's basically a secret. Access a secret. So yeah, that's where the BFG is. Your first BFG. There's multiple BFGs throughout the course of the game. And some more energy cells right there. Now the question is, where am I supposed to go? Go back, apparently. Oh, that's right, this is one of those levels that actually doesn't require you to get all three keys. The level's very unique in that regard. So many levels in Doom 64 require you to get all three keys, which just, you know, really slows down the experience. It was nice on that level only having to get one key. Alright, so we're going to switch over to the chain gun for this part in the very beginning. So we need to flip both these switches and make some platforms come down. One is, I don't know. It's somewhere. Alright, so the blue key appears, and then there's actually a blue door pretty much just right here. And let me switch back over to the shotgun. Now the rocket launcher. Obviously you don't want to use the rocket launcher in close quarters, because you will probably do some splash damage against yourself and hurt yourself, which is never a good thing. I mean, unless that's your prerogative. If you really want to kill yourself, then, you know, obviously go for it, but I prefer to stay alive when I play these games. I mean, well, I prefer to stay alive in general, in real life, but but when I'm playing Doom, I especially like to stay alive. I like to actually finish the game I'm playing. And so far, we're actually doing a pretty good job at getting through this without too much trouble, which is nice. We're making decent progress. But it should be noted that the later levels in the game do get very, very long. And so you've definitely got to watch out for that. So if you're trying to blaze through the game and you feel like, man, I'm making really good progress on these first 10 levels, just remember that the last 10 levels are much longer than the first 10 levels. And then there's a couple more levels in between. There's basically 25 levels total if you're just running through it normally. And then if you get the secret levels, there's 28 total. So... Alright, now I think we can actually go back. Wrong way. You really see how some of these levels start to become really confusing. And that's basically what's happened here, is I'm already confused. So we need to come back. And so that's just the weapon. Okay, so we don't need to actually go that way. So let's try this. And that's right, we keep going to the same place. If I'm driving you crazy, I apologize. I'm driving myself crazy at the same time. There we go. And this is how we get the yellow key. I still have no idea what that switch up there does. I've shot it before. It doesn't really seem to do anything. I'm sure it does something. I don't know what it does. Alright, so let's go back up here. So that's just, you know, backtracking is the name of Doom 64. Unfortunately. So we had to go get the yellow key just to come back to right where we were. And like I said, there's a lot of that in this game. Here, go out of your way to do this, just go right back to where you actually already were. So, you know, they make you run around in circles a lot in this game. There's our red key. And lots of lost souls. Perfect, perfect usage for the chain gun. One of my favorite uses of it in this game is to take out lost souls. And now I'm actually kind of curious, does this actually do anything up here? I noticed there was this area up here. Oh, look at that. Sounds like a tripwire here. You trip it there. Really? Oh, it gets tripped right here. Okay. Really? You gotta... okay. That's... Okay, Doom 64. Let's just get out of here. You're driving me nuts now. It's absolutely driving me nuts. Like... I found that secret, but there was nothing there. Troll secret. Alright, so now we can actually drop back down here. Go through this red door. Now there's going to be a bunch of barons here, so we're going to go ahead and just rocket them if we can. And this is pretty much close to the exit. We're actually really close to the end of this stage now. And that's it. Another one down. Another one bites the dust. You got a copyright claim just for singing that? No. Alright. Alright, so there's going to be a Baron over here, actually. What just happened to the sky? I think the sky just glitched out. It did it when I was like constantly pushing like the buttons to like switch weapons. I think it was just mashing on different buttons. So now the sky is a color it's not supposed to be. Huh, interesting. Wow, okay. I guess we'll play with the bright sky. I'm okay with that. It's like the lightning sky. Basically, like when lightning strikes, the effect is to make the sky turn white for just a frame or two, signifying that like there's lightning or something like that. But it seems like it actually glitched out and it's doing it the exact opposite. So now the sky is permanently lit up. And when the lightning effect happens, the sky goes dark. Perma lightning. That's pretty funny. Alright, so now we need to go through this teleporter to get back up, to get up top, not back up top. And we're going to eventually have to come down here, but you notice that this is blocked off. That's where we get our first key, our blue key. Another Cacodemon. And these stairs are eventually going to raise up, and I think this is actually where we get our ancient weapon, alien weapon, or whatever we want to call it. And then I can show it off to you guys. Flip that switch, kill that imp. And that lowered this, so we can now get this key, just to come back up to where we were. It's not the first time you've heard me say that. Won't be the last. You'll notice there's a yellow door here. Well, we're gonna have to get a yellow key and then come back here, right back to where we were. Let's grab that armor. Alright, I feel like I'm missing something here. Oh, that's what I'm missing. That switch actually makes these stairs appear. And then that switch makes something else appear. Probably lowers these bars. Oops. Flip that switch. Alright, this is the part I always get confused by. What am I supposed to do now? Probably come over here. Some more partial invisibility, and I think that makes this area come down. Nope. Ah, that's right, I've got the right key now, so I do have to actually come back down. Which basically makes these stairs rise up. And yep, sure enough, this is where our new weapon is. And so it's kind of a rinky-dink weapon, but it is actually really powerful, surprisingly. And it only uses one cell at a time, so if you're going to use this or the BFG, it's generally safer to use this because it's strong and you don't use more ammo than you need to, which is nice. And as usual, I'm lost on where to go. There's our key. Okay, our key's ready now, so we can actually go up and get that. Like I said, really confusing level design in the game. Lots of backtracking. Not a whole lot of like real flow to the whole thing. And I fell. I didn't want to fall, but it's okay. We got the yellow key. And we actually need to go this way, because that's where our teleporter is, I believe. Or was it the other way around? Ah, that's right, it just loops. Alright, so we gotta come back up, go here, go to our yellow door. Hello, Hell Knight. It is great to see you. Probably need to come down here, flip this switch, and probably need to not flip this because it's already flipped. Yep, already flipped across the board. We'll just go back to where we were. And this is the exit. And because Doom 64 likes you doing redundant things, a wall comes up here and you can't exit just quite yet. Oh, but there's a Hell Knight, you say. And wait, now we can exit. Okay, why was that there? Why was that even a thing? Why couldn't you just let me exit? Welcome to Doom 64. All right. Keep things positive, Austin. Keep things positive. Alright, so I always like to bust out the rockets if I can on the Barons. It just makes things go so much faster. And we're going to come in here. And this is where the Arachnotrons are revealed. But with our fancy new little laser weapon, we can cut through these guys pretty quickly. Well, sort of, kind of. And we've got another trap right here. So if you come here, do not rush into this room. And you'll see why in just a moment. That is why. If you rush into this room, you will fall to your death. There's no way to get back out. And there's going to be some more flying darts. Whoa, they just flew out. So you've got to watch out for those. There's some more right here. Ugh. Not a fan of that type of level design either. Not in a game like this. Not in a Doom game. But that's just me. Some people seem to love it. I don't. And so this is a red door. We need a red key for that. There they are. More darts are coming out. Bam. There they go. There's going to be a bunch of enemies here too. Alright, so this is open now. A bunch of different places you can go here. And if you weren't tired of darts already, there's going to be Dart Central coming up. Really, really tricky sections. We're definitely going to be quick saving once we get there. I should actually be going straight to that room, because I've got extra health, and I really need that health for that room. So that's exactly what we're going to do. But first, we're going to come here, and we're going to do a little bit of quick saving, just in case I mess this up. It's one of the beauties of this version. Is that if you mess something up, just make sure that, or if you think you're going to mess something up, make sure you just quick save it beforehand. And this is the part I'm talking about. So what I'm going to want to do is kill these barons. I highly recommend killing these barons. Otherwise, they're just going to cause some trouble on this next part, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment. Got a couple of rockets, might as well use them. There's another Baron right there. There we go. And let the craziness happen in 3, 2, 1, go. I hate this part. Absolutely hate this part. But this is why you want to kill the barons first. Because once you get to a safe spot, you can just sit here. And just wait for them to do their thing. Trust me, I died there many times on the N64 version, and it was so infuriating. So we can grab this, which will make us invincible. Also prime material for chainsawing people. So the reason you try to use the chainsaw in a situation like this when you're invincible is that you can basically just conserve your ammo. You know, use it as a moment to catch back up on your ammunition. I thought that switch was supposed to make more enemies appear, but apparently not. That was a bummer. I thought I'd be able to use that invincibility some more. But unfortunately, that's just the blue key. We still need that red key. Let's go ahead and get back up here. And that's basically opened this place up. And this takes us down here. That's right, this is like the library type of area. Alright, so I think we're going to have to actually come back down. There's going to be some more switches and whatnot that we have to flip. It's kind of a confusing part of the level. Everything just looks very samey. Now, of course, you can use your auto map if you are so inclined. There's another Baron. Hi, I'm the Baron of Hell. Let me slow down your gameplay. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. There's another one. Alright, so now we should be able to come up here. Yep. 2 more Barons. Alright, this is where enemies start to appear. Alright, right through to the red door. And this is pretty much where this level's gonna end. Need to run through here, that's where the yellow key is. And we might not actually have to fight these guys. We might actually just be able to exit. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna waste my ammo. You know, it's one thing if it was hard, or if like it was blocked off, but if it's not hard and I can avoid it, I'll avoid it. I'll save that ammo. We're getting kind of low on some of our ammo anyway. Wow, the sky's still messed up. Okay. Alright, so once this goes away, we'll see where we are. Level 14. So we're about an hour and a half in. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and play through this level. And then on level 15, I'll go ahead and stop. And that'll be basically this episode of the Let's Play. And then we'll continue on from there in a separate part. And you're going to notice that the audio will start distorting and clipping. And that's actually normal for this mod. From what people have told me, it actually happens in the Nintendo 64 version as well. So Doom 64 EX is very, very faithful to the original Doom 64. Pretty much right down to all the bugs and glitches and things like that. And audio issues that the game can have. Alright, there's our blue key. Lots of lost souls. Let me try to take them out. Really distorting, pretty badly. So flipping that switch basically makes, I think it's a shotgun that just appears. Yeah. Don't really need it, but, you know, if you die, it's really good to know where these things appear from. Or where they appear at. Because if you're playing the Nintendo 64 version, you gotta restart the whole level, and you lose all of your upgrades and weapons. Granted, in the N64 version, you can actually just go back out and reload your game. You can basically just load in the password or load in your data off your controller pack. Let me go ahead and use... Oh, we can't use the BFG. Oh, that's not good. Actually getting quite low on health now. It's okay, we'll get some health back. I know there's a lot of health I'm missing down below as well. Let's go ahead and kill this guy through here. You know, I think we can do this. Yeah, we'll just go through here. Alright, so there's some health right here. There's going to be another Baron over here. Let's go ahead and just take him out. Try not to kill ourselves in the process. Actually, my health isn't too bad. We're up to 73 again, so that's fine. Although I pretty much have no armor, so... Okay, I can't actually hit those guys from all the way across. Maybe the rocket will do it. Yep. Rocket did it. And what I'm going to actually do is go back down below because we're actually missing a lot of ammunition. Our ammo is getting really low across the board. I know there's going to be some bullets down here. Yes, I assume there's going to be some bullets down here. There we go. There's some. So a box of bullets appears to give you 50 bullets in this game. Alright, let's try to conserve that ammo if we can. If I have a ton of ammo, I'll just slice through these guys with bullets, but Or my shotguns. So we did all that only for a box of bullets. Not really worthwhile. We'll actually go back this way, because there's going to be some more imps and stuff like that. But some more ammo, most likely. Yeah, more rockets. So unlike classic Doom, if you see something like this, let's lower this. So in classic Doom, if you see a switch above you, you can actually activate it as long as you're touching the wall, even if you're not right in front of the switch. So in Doom 64, you cannot do that though. It's kind of interesting how they changed that. I mean, I assume this still uses the Doom engine. I mean, like the original game. Doom 64 EX was apparently built, I guess, on the back of the Doom 2 source. I think that's what the website said. You can actually go to, I think it's doom64ex.wordpress.com or something like that. And I think that'll actually be the Doom 64 EX website. And there's information on how this was put together. And, but I assume the original Doom 64 was still running on the Doom engine. So it's interesting that certain things don't work, like being able to flip switches above you. As long as you're touching the wall. Alright, so this is the exit. I think some barons are going to appear. Nope. Dark entries. Okay. This level is a bit of a pain. And what we'll do is... What level are we on? Level 15. Yeah, this is level 15. Let me go ahead and just do this level 2. So you can flip this to make the shotgun appear, flip that to make some ammo appear. Now you gotta watch out, when you go through this door, these rocket things that are just gonna fly down. Let me actually kill these enemies, because they don't start flying down until you go through the door. Alright. You can see what I'm talking about. And these things deal tons of damage, and they home in on you. It's one of the worst things in the game. And if you get caught off guard, you are just absolutely wrecked. So basically what triggers it is going through that door, or going through this door over here, which is the exit door. Let's go ahead and just grab everything we can. There's some arachnotrons in here. You can just kill them with a couple rockets. Fortunately, you can't really see them. And you flip that switch. And this is a bit of a secret right here as well. So I'm pretty sure the health is going to appear right here. Actually, it might just be randomized. I think it's random. Okay, now you have to flip a switch. And it would be this one. Oh! Huh. I feel gypped now. I want my money back. I guess you can try again. That's weird, because I've always gotten it on the first try. Nope, failed again. Now I'm pretty sure you have to get this, otherwise the key doesn't come down, as you can tell. And they present you with some lost souls. So this is some of the stuff I was talking about, where it's just like, mandatory puzzles, really. Really, and you get punished if you don't do it just right. Wow, I failed again. This is the first time this has ever happened. Now we get to do it again. Nope, still failed it. Wow, this is insane. This has never happened to me before. Nope, failed again. Wow, so it's literally a guessing game now. Like, I intentionally sat by it just so I can kind of hear where it would go, but if you sit right here, the audio sounds like it's in both ears. It's like right in front of you, but it's not. It's like, I think it was all the way over there that time. Yeah, it always sounds right in front of you. Alright, you know what? I'm coming through here. Just because I can. It made absolutely no difference, but... Okay, this is actually really frustrating. This is like rage-inducing stuff right here. Having to do this over and over and over again. Nope. Yeah, it's funny because every other time I played this, I must have just guessed it right the very first time. Nope. And here's half the Let's Play right here. Now, it'd be one thing if, like, these things just stayed down and it was just a process of elimination. So that'd be one thing, but unfortunately, that is not how it works. Now look, a secret. There we go. Now, why was that mandatory? Why was that mandatory? Just absolutely aggravating stuff. Alright, so let's go back out. And over here to the blue door. Watch out for the homing fireballs. You know what I notice about the arachnotrons in this game is that, like, rockets have a tendency of just, like, going right through them. So, like, the spot where, you know, you can actually do damage to the arachnotrons, it seems to be a lot smaller than their sprite actually is, which is really odd. In Classic Doom, it's not like that. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and quick save it, since we did quite a bit. And this part can be tough. Some good old-fashioned combat, which I love. Alright, so there's actually going to be a secret inside this room, but I want to sort of like run around in circles to make sure I pick up all the ammo that's here. Ammo and extra health and so forth. Lots of good stuff in this area. But we do need to flip that switch, which actually lowers a column in this room, which reveals a teleporter. And the teleporter is right here. We're not going to go through it just yet. I want to make sure I've got everything from here. Like I said, lots of ammo here. Let's see, was there anything here? Nope, I already got it. Alright, so we're going to come in here, and there's a pretty good secret here, where you can get a supercharge and blue armor. So what you need to do is quickly shoot that, and then that, and it lowers both of these platforms. There's actually 2 tiers of platforms. You need to make sure you raise the, lower the high ones and the low ones. So you can actually get up here and get those items. Very good items. A supercharge and blue armor. It's about as good as it gets in the game. Aside from the, what, Mega Charge? Mega Sphere? I don't remember what it's called. Alright, that's our yellow key. Now, unfortunately, I thought you could bait these guys into walking down and getting hit, but it never really seems to work. They just happen to get stuck, usually, so... Alright, let me move over here, because the Arachnotron is trying to fire at me, and he's getting stuck on the stairs. There he is. He's on his way back up. Oh, that was close. And there's another one. Let's just shoot him from a distance. And now, armed with the red key, we can actually exit the level. Alright, so I'm gonna quick save it here as well. Again, these homing fireballs are gonna start flying out again. Actually, never mind, doesn't really matter. Oh, they don't start flying out on this door. Well, that's a bummer. It's okay. I'm just gonna exit anyway. Alright, and let's see. Is this going to be the level I'm thinking of? It is not, actually. So we're on level 16, Blood Keep. We got about 9 levels to go. I'm going to go ahead and end the Let's Play right here on this level. I thought this was the level where we fight the Cyber Demon for the first time, and actually it's 2 Cyber Demons on the hardest difficulty mode. It might only be 1 Cyber Demon on lower difficulties. Remember that we are playing on the hardest difficulty in the game, which is called Watch Me Die. And, so yeah, we're going to go ahead and leave it here. that was Doom 64, guys. I'll be back with part 2 sometime soon. Like I said, the last like 10 stages of the game, they do take longer to get through typically. There's a couple of exceptions, but there's a couple levels towards the end in particular that are just really, really long. Lots of backtracking, lots of just really slow, barren of hell combat, you know, that really just slows down the gameplay, stuff like that. Lots of stop and go action, unfortunately. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back with part 2 probably next week. I'll probably try to wrap this up, you know, these 2 episodes up back to back, basically. And so thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions or comments, post down below in the comment section. And I will catch you guys in the next video. So until then, guys, take it easy.